the next thing we're going to be talking about is a thing called Task Manager. And Bobby's going to be talking about that one.
Interesting story. I had this older lady. She was like 85, and she used to call it Taskmaster. And
Taskmaster.
she was older and so cute. I never wanted to correct her. It was kind of like, I use that Taskmaster to stop that thing from happening. Sure, yeah. But no, it's called Task Manager. You right-click down here in the Start menu is the way to get to it. You can also do it by hitting Control-Delete, but since I'm sharing my desktop, I don't want to do that because I'm not exactly sure how that's going to present when I do that. But you can basically hit the Control-Alt-Delete, and it will be one of the options under there.
Yeah.
Why is Control-Alt-Delete important? Sometimes your screen can get so locked up, like something's just going totally south. Like maybe Excel, you accidentally open that 500,000 Excel spreadsheet and you did not really want to do that, and it's just your computer's just checking out, and you got to crash it out. It's called an interrupt, is what the fancy IT term is. But what happens is there are certain levels of interrupts that say, hey, this is super important. Control-Alt-Delete is one of the highest interrupt levels. So when you do that, even if it's freaking out, a lot of times you can get to Task Manager. Sometimes you cannot right-click on the taskbar. It's just so locked up, you have to go to a higher interrupt. So that's where Control-Alt-Delete comes in. So you can go to Control-Alt-Delete to get access to Task Manager. But in this situation, I'm not having any specific issues, so I'll just show you here. But I just wanted to share that so that you know about that. Okay, so Task Manager, is very helpful in showing you some really good information. You may be surprised, but look at all of the applications that are running on my computer.
Crazy.
It is insane, okay? How many run? Now, you can thin it out, but that's just over time. As Windows matures, more services get installed, and that's the reason why you have to upgrade your computers periodically, because they just keep adding more stuff.
Yeah.
So that's just the reality of life. But let's say that my computer is just really checking out. It just seems like it's having a super bad day, and I'm having a bad day because of it. So how do I address this? So if you go to Task Manager, these little columns here are super important. They give you really good information. So this is my CPU. So this is the little general that is running my computer. Is very important. And if it's at 100%, this column will turn red right here. This little top header will turn red. And that is bad. If it's staying at 100% nonstop, and let's see if I can make it increase. If I shake it a little bit, sometimes that will make it,
it decreased. It was like
decreased. No. Shows you what I know. But you see the numbers, they're changing all the time. If this is at 90 or higher, and it's staying at that, that's bad. And what you can do is, this is the one that's using it. So right now, Zoom is using up 31%. Makes sense because I'm doing sharing and I'm recording.
Yeah.
But maybe, let's say it was Word, and you're not even really using Word, or maybe Outlook. Maybe you clicked on a message and it just checked out. You can just right-click on it and say End Task. And that means put a bullet in it, stop it. Now, keep in mind that it is possible that if you were making some changes, that some of them could potentially be lost.
Right.
So be advised that there may be some data loss when you do this. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, let's say that you're working a Word document and you had been working on it for hours. It may or may not save that content. Now, back in the old days, this used to be really bad. It used to happen all the time. When you would end task, you would lose lots of data. Now, Word is really good about shadow saving, where it's just kind of kicking stuff to a Delta file. And when you go to open it, it sees it so that it says, hey, I was in the middle of editing this temp, and here's the temp file. Do you want me to import this? And I can see the changes.
And you're like, bless you, Word.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. So a lot of times, this happens rarely now. But just be mindful that if it is something that is super critical, like you were working on a Word document that you spent countless hours, maybe you might want to wait a little bit longer before you put the bullet in it.
Yeah.
But maybe you've waited 5 or 10 minutes and it's time. You just need to go ahead, end task on it, and let's see what happens. So in that situation, I would just say, end task, and it's going to go ahead and close Word out. So now Word closed out. And now I can open Word back up again. I don't have it on my taskbar, so I'm going to use my search we talked about. And I'm going to click on it. Now it's on my other screen over here. and I would open up Word, and the document that I was having is fine.
Right.
And that's really helpful. Now, these other columns, this is the amount of memory your system's using. So a lot of times this will creep up over time. And what that means is as you're opening and closing programs, memory starts to increase because it doesn't always give the memory back. So this is the available kind of like, I guess, room virtually for your computer as it's working. And so in order to make this clean, you should reboot at least once a week. So I highly recommend, like maybe on Friday when you're leaving for the day, go start, right click right here and go shut down, restart. Close out of all your apps before you do that, but restart your computer. It helps clean out that memory and make sure that you're running at top shape. Well, I've seen a lot of people have problems, and I go to look at the uptime of the computer, and it's like a month. You haven't rebooted your computer in a month? Good heavens! So, you want to do that once a week.
Yeah.
This is the hard drive where all your data saves when you're shutting it down, or when you hit save, that's where it puts it. So if this is at 100%, what that's meaning is something is tagging the snot out of your computer's disk and is consuming too much of it. Again, you could end task on it. And then the GPU and network, you hardly ever mess with those, but this is your graphics GPU, your graphic card. So that's what these things are here. So the Task Manager is super helpful in doing shutting down. Also, one thing that's also helpful is you can right click and you can say, expand or go to. If you have that option, like here, what that's going to do is that's going to show me everything that's underneath here. So in this case, I have a whole bunch of Chrome tabs open. So that's what that's
right.
And then, you can do the switch to. So this is Word. So let me bring this over here. Minimize this. I say, it just disappeared. Where'd it go? Oh, maybe because I put it on the screen. I did that. Why did it do that?
It's freaking out.
Oh, there it is. Switch to. Yeah. So what it can do is it can be helpful so that when you switch to it, it brings it up.
Oh, that is nice. I didn't even know that I could do that.
Yeah. So what can happen is you have a whole bunch of things open, and then something's consuming a lot of power, and you're like, well, what is it, and where is it at? You can try doing the switch to make it show up. So
yeah, it goes right to your face. You get to see the culprit.
So that's helpful.
Yeah, for sure.